All right. Welcome to the Connecting One Meal at a Time podcast. I'm Kate Bean, and it is January 25th, 2026. And I just want to pause to just notice this extraordinary, ordinary moment right now, which is watching this amazing snowstorm here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And it's just so beautiful. I know it's going to go on and on for a while. And so there's going to be lots of moments to pause and look out the window and just sometimes I get to just think to myself, who gets to do this? Who gets to experience all this amazing changes in weathers and seasons? And so that's one advantage of being on the East Coast, which is I know cliche, everybody says that, but anyway, that's my extraordinary, ordinary moment right now. And so this podcast is dedicated to just sharing stories. Like, with everything going on in the world, all I know how to do and all I want to do is just find points of connection. How can I connect to myself and feel comfortable in my own skin and feel like I'm okay and not that I'm just okay, but I'm more than okay, that I can thrive, and as long as I know I have the power of choice to choose whatever storyline I want to tell myself about who I am and how I show up in the world. And the other part is connecting to other people and doing that one meal at a time is just the way I think it's the only control we have. So I say this every time, and this podcast is live. So I'm just kind of going with whatever I'm feeling in the moment. Like, this is my moment to pause, just doing this. Again, it started out just doing it for me so that it was a time to just pause and reflect. And I reflect better speaking. I know some people are great with journaling and writing, and for me, I've always to be able to say things out loud helps me process. So starting this podcast for one, or however many people ever decide to jump on and join. And of course, hopefully soon I'll have some people coming on with me and sharing their stories. If people were willing to come on live and chat with me, that would be awesome. So this is just my opportunity. So I was just thinking back to this week, and like again, me not having anything prepared, but I do have moments. I do have meals because that's the point. If anybody looks back on your week, you're consistently going to have meals to look back on and reflect in because they happen every single day. So if that's true, and they happen every single day, then that's a great time to check in with yourself. It's a great time to slow down. It's a great time to notice, especially the extraordinary, those ordinary moments of a meal. And so it's just again, that's why it's my talisman. It's my time. And I'm suggesting that if other people want to try it, I would love to hear their stories about it. So for me, so many cool moments over the past week, sharing meals with my daughter, cooking for myself. I had a great steak and a salad the other night, and it was just fun. The whole thing was fun, just preparing it and eating and pausing and just thinking, like, how lucky am I to be able to go to the store and buy, what I want to buy and come home and cook it. So that in and of itself brings so much gratitude. And I know it's not lost on me that not everybody can do that. So I just take a moment to pause for that gratitude. And so many meals this week, but I think the one that really stands out happened just yesterday, and I was at a kind of a check-in training here at Winthrop House, where I live, and here to work with students and all of the folks that support students here uh, come together just to check in, see how we're doing. And yesterday we were all together, just check in, do a little bit of training, a little bit of sharing, and we all went to lunch at Lowell House, which is across the street because our dining hall isn't open yet. And so, first of all, it was just nice to see these people after a long winter break. I think it's been 5 weeks. It's been pretty quiet around here with nobody around. So it was just nice to see faces and to check in. It was fun to go to a different dining hall and see how they're set up, and the energy was fantastic because it's one of, I guess, 2 or 3 dining halls that were just open this last week, and the students are just coming back this weekend, so it was super crowded, which was just a cool energy in and of itself, just so much movement and chatter, and, you could pick up on conversations as you walk by a table, and to see the students so happy to see each other was just it was just cool. You could literally just notice connection after connection after connection after connection. And so in and of itself, that was great, and I found myself just smiling, watching all the students and how happy they were to see their friends and be back on campus. So that was great, and, of course, just hanging with my friends and catching up, your proverbial, "Hey, how was winter break?" But I got to ask my friend Steve, how his break was going back to New Zealand with his, son, Bodhi, who's, um 6 years old, and so that was just fun to listen to that, and, I just asked him, I said, "I could ask so many questions about your time back in New Zealand," because he's from New Zealand, "and I could ask about time with family and what did you do?" But I said, "Can I just ask you, like, was there anything about the food that brought cool connections when you were there?" And he said, "Yeah, actually, there was some, certain foods that were just comfort foods, like meat pies and things just from his childhood that just made him, automatically think, he was home and it felt like home." And so it brought him more connected to his family, and to himself and to his past and to his childhood, which was cool. And then he said, "But really the best part was being able to tell his son that, he told him about this certain, um, ice cream. It's called Hokey Pokey, and it's called Hokey Pokey, and he goes, It's a thing in New Zealand, it's Hokey Pokey ice cream," and he'd been telling his son about this forever, and so, in order like, "Hey, we're gonna go to New Zealand, and we're gonna," and it's just something they do together, they like to have ice cream together, so it's already a built-in connection point. But he got to tell him, "This was my favorite ice cream when I was your age in New Zealand." And so he told the story, about that, and he told the whole table, where we were sitting, which was just we were all hooked in because, it was like 7 degrees outside or something, so you would think ice cream wouldn't be, tantalizing, but it actually was. We were just all locked in because he's like, "It's this, like, vanilla ice cream, certain just super creamy, and then has these bits of toffee all throughout the ice cream." And of course, all of us were like, "Oh, that's the best." And so he talked about them going to get it, and then he showed us a picture of the 2 of them with the ice cream, and so, yet again, just, it's just such a easy lift, I guess, is to find connection with food because it's just there, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's comforting, it's tantalizing, which I've used that word twice. That's what happens on a live podcast. You just use words. Oh, that get hooked into. I think it's just it was the look on his face, on Steve's face, right? To tell the story. So he gets to relive the story by me asking. So I'm connecting with Steve. He's connecting with me and the table over this story of ice cream, of food, and his connection with his son, his connection with his family, and then he's connecting with us by sharing the story. And so we had smiles on our faces. We asked follow-up questions. We started to talk about our favorite ice creams growing up. So now the topic of conversation at the table is we're all sharing connection stories to our past and connection stories to this favorite ice cream or this or that. I started talking about thrifty ice cream. Nobody at the table knew thrifty ice cream, which I'm like, how do you not know thrifty ice cream? Like that's like, and then I realized it's not just a California thing growing up, or maybe it was. And then I told him about this special thrifty ice cream and had this really cool scooper, right? Where the scooper would like push down into the ice cream and fill up the cylinder, and then they'd take it out, and then they put on your ice cream cone, and then they'd squeeze the handle and it'd push the ice cream out, which made this cool flat top. And so the flat top allowed you to put on another scoop. You know how ice cream scoops sometimes they fall off because they're round because you're scooping them. They're a sphere, and then spheres stacking on spheres are not great. So the Thrifty ice cream had a flat top. So you could stack another one and another one. Of course, back in my day, it was 5 cents a scoop. So you can imagine you could get a triple decker for 15 cents, which my brothers did, which I never did. I could never handle really more than one scoop, even though I wanted more because I wanted more flavors. Sometimes I would do 2 scoops, but I would have a hard time finishing it. So my eyes were always bigger than my stomach as a child, maybe still are. And so I got to share that and show them pictures of the Thrifty ice cream. They're like, what a great idea. And so just cool, just cool moments. So that's all I have to offer today. Just the story within a story, within a story, within a story, all around a meal that we shared and food that we talked about. So again, easy lift to do. I hope I want to encourage this message to anyone. Take a moment the next time you're eating to slow down, to notice that extraordinary within the ordinary. Notice the connection to yourself, to your past, to your present. Notice the connection to people around you, and find that gratitude, that place of gratitude, and realize that this is it. I mean, we can't really be in the past or the future ever. All we can really do is be present. And I know there's a lot of like mindfulness, and some people are resistant to that, the idea of a presence and without judgment. And it can get a little, I guess it can get a little esoteric and a little much. But that's why I just love just the meal. It's just a meal. We all do it. It's a universal love language, food. Whether it's your love language or it's a necessity, we all do it. So we all are going to have a meal at some point in our day, hopefully, and if not more than one. And it's this great opportunity. So if you have a story to share, I would love that. We have the new website up. It's katebean.com, katebean.com. And it's just a place that you could share your story if you want to write a story to us in the message box. Or if you want to call into our Google Voice number, that number is area code 804 620 7656. 804 620 7656. And you could leave us a message. It's only 3 minutes. Like it's a 3-minute max, or you can leave us a message of your story if it's a short anecdote, or just leave us a message and we'll call you back. And if it's okay, leave your phone number and we'll check in with you and see if you'd be willing to tell us a little bit more about your story. Because that way, guess what? I just get to connect again with more people. And that's really the point. I just want to share stories, hear stories, create stories, gather stories, put any verb in front that you want, but stories of connection are the thing. They're going to be the thing, I think, that can heal. And it sounds like a little ostentatious to say heal the world, but isn't our world just what's right in front of us? Our world is each day, each moment. So this idea of one meal, one moment, one connection, that's all we got. And just can you imagine if everyone started to notice each meal and the connection with themselves and felt more connected to others, and then that spread to more people, and we'd all just be living our best lives every day, one meal, one moment, one connection at a time. And then those days add up into a pretty great week, and pretty great weeks end up into great years, and great years end up into a great life. So that's my idea. Thanks for listening. I hope you have some extraordinary, ordinary moments connecting one meal at a time. Bye for now.